Okay, yeah, so this is a quick refresher on agents in Nifty Island. This is going to be a relatively quick one. I did a more in-depth one a couple months ago. Not a lot has changed in Nifty from the agent implementation perspective. That previous video can be found on our YouTube. But more will be coming soon. And so probably in maybe like a week, couple of weeks, uh, we will likely be doing another one of these just to explain more functionality and more in-depth tutorials on agent creation. Some of this code, today we'll be using Eliza. I'm sure a couple of people have heard of it, but it's one of the most popular, if not the most popular, agent creation framework out there. I covered this in the other video along with Coinbase's CDP agent. But today we're just going to be doing Eliza. A lot has changed in the Eliza and Coinbase implementation since the last video. So some of the code we're going to be using is slightly out of date, but it still works. It still has all the really nice, juicy features that we want. So let's hop into it. I assume everyone here knows what agents are, but just a really quick, brief TLDR. They are LLM wrappers that provide a toolkit for the LLM to use. And we inform the LLM of their toolkit, and that kind of unlocks this really neat functionality that they can choose to take these actions. So with that being said, we'll dive into what this looks like within Nifty Island. Here are our creator docs. Just a quick overview. You see it has these popular ones, Eliza OS, CDP. You can use ones from Virtuals or Hollow World too, which are just platforms to create these agents on. And we have a brief architectural overview here if people are interested in what's going on under the hood in Nifty Island with these agents. So for actual integration, we talk with these agents from game using REST endpoints, just a request and a response format. So the request that gets sent from the game looks like this. You have the message that the player sent. You have their username, a unique ID for them, and the island ID that they are currently on. The response you're going to get back, or that the game expects from the agent, is text, what the agent says, and some action, and an additional optional action context. And I can go into these actions a little bit more in a little bit. Actually, we'll do that now. A little bit will be now. So currently our action space in Nifty is somewhat small, but again, we're going to release some expansions on that, especially with the introduction of custom games. It's just going to unlock a lot more neat functionality that the agent can do in game. And so these are actions that the agent can take in game, but agents can take any action they want outside of Nifty. So anything on chain, transferring tokens, transferring an NFT, posting to X, posting to Discord. It can do all of that stuff on its own without any of this specific Nifty implementation. So if you don't want your agent to be able to emote or host a lobby, you don't need to support any of these actions. You can just do entirely on-chain stuff or entirely Twitter stuff. So these are messages that will receive when users are talking to the agent. There's another type of message that the game can send, and that is world messages. So these are just contextual messages that the game sends to the agent about what's going on in Nifty Island. Um, Oh, and I'll also say if I'm going too fast or people have any questions, you can drop it in this side chat in the presentation hall, and I'll try to keep up with that. And so world messages kind of just tell the agent what's going on in game at any point in time. There are two kinds of world messages that we support right now. One is a world tick, um, and that will just give you a list of all players on the island. And then a world event message. So anytime something meaningful happens in game, the most meaningful being a game has been completed, you can inform the agent of that and who won. So this unlocks really cool things like rewarding players on your island. So you can set up an agent and receive this world tick message and say, anyone that is on the island today, send them 10 island token. Or you could hook into this world event message, and every time a game is completed, you reward the winner with 10 island. Something like that. Lastly, we have an additional step. This is optional, called the Nifty Knowledge Injection. And this is just a message that gets sent when the agent starts up in-game. And it contains just as much info as possible about the island, about the person interacting with the agent, the games available, the emotes available, and so you can use this info to prime the agent to respond in different ways. So if you inject the available playground games up here in host lobby, you can specify which game you want the agent to start up when they call this action. So the response would look from the agent would look like this, but this would say host lobby. Action context would be the name of the game that you want the agent to host. So agent frameworks, as we talked about a little bit earlier in this, we have two primary crypto agent frameworks. You don't have to use these ones. Any agent framework works as long as you can hit it with a REST API endpoint. Eliza's great. It's open sourced. It is really, really good for custom characters. Coinbase is also open source, and it benefits from being supported by Coinbase itself. Um, and it's a little bit better with on-chain actions, uh, though you can accomplish anything with both. There's not one thing that you can do with Coinbase's CDP agent that you can't with Eliza. Um, so here is the Eliza code that we will be using. There's a ton of stuff in here. If you're interested, definitely look through, uh, look at creating an agent from scratch if you want. It's definitely a process, but it's very rewarding. If you don't want to do it, which I totally get, I have created this Eliza starter specifically for Nifty. And this is accessible through our docs right up here, through this forked version of the Eliza starter. If you just click on this link, it should, that's the old one. Okay, I will, oh, no, sorry, it's this one. Yeah, okay. So right here. Um, and now I can walk us through getting this set up, and we'll see what it looks like in game. So first things first, we need this code on our machine. A couple ways to do that. You can download a zip of it, but I don't recommend that because it makes it a little bit harder to deploy later on. Um, If people are interested, you should probably fork it. It creates your own copy of it. Once you do that, your page will look very similar to this. You can just go down to here, code, copy this URL right here, and you can just do git clone URL, and now we have it. Yeah, so we have all of our code right in there. I have already done that in a different repo, so we're going to work off of this one. And there's a couple things we need to do to get set up. Um, so, and we'll follow along in these docs too, just to make it easier. So yeah, quick overview of what's going on in this code. Here is our index. This is just how we are going to start up the agent. There's not a lot in here that we really need to change or edit, aside from specifying actions. So right here, I wrote a host lobby action. So the anatomy of this is pretty simple. You have the name of the action, similes are just alternate names, and then a description. And this will get fed into the agent on startup. So you're telling the agent, call this action if the user requests you to open a lobby, or if they requested to play a game, or if they don't know what to do. There's a couple things. There's a validation step. So if for whatever reason we want to check some condition to see if this action should run, we can validate that right in here. Return true if we want it to run, false if we don't. And then a handler. So once the agent decides to take this action, we can specify really anything in this handler. So we can say like post to Twitter or X, like post to Discord, uh, maybe post a link to the island in Discord. So they'll run this, and then they will respond uh, with one of these examples. Not exactly this example. It'll decide what to respond itself, but you're just telling it like this is an example of something that you can respond, and then you will take the action host lobby. So once we've defined our action, we can import it with this line right here. And then down here in create agent, we're just going to tell the agent, hey, you have the ability to use this action. And you can do an infinite number of actions. There's really no limit to what you can do with these agents, aside from just your creativity. I have a test send island action that I didn't get time to fully implement, but just as a quick example, so I'm telling the agent to call this action if the user has requested some island token. So this would be good for rewarding players on your island once per day, let's say. So here in the validation step, we can check our database if we have rewarded this user today. If we have, return false, so the agent will not take this action. If we have not rewarded them, then we return true, and we'll proceed to this handler step, where we get the wallet address from the message.wallet. And we have their wallet address because of this Nifty knowledge injection step. We will, sorry, just looking at this chat real quick, using AI agents, and can you reward players with NFTs or other crypto besides Island? Yeah, great question. You can, yeah. The agent can take any on-chain action that it wants. So yeah, sending NFTs, sending ERC20 tokens, really anything. I mean, it can read the wallet balance of the player if it wants. Yeah, truly anything that you can do on chain, the agent can automatically do as well. And you do that through these actions. Um, Eliza doesn't have quite the action space that CDP Agent Kit has. Um, let's pull that up real quick, actually. So this is Coinbase's Agent Kit. They have a Python and a TypeScript implementation. TypeScript is just a flavor of JavaScript. Um, Depending on who you ask, it's better or it's worse. But here, if we go into the TypeScript, their agent kit code, their source, and their action providers, here you can see everything that it supports right now. So ERC20, ERC721, these are tokens. So sending and receiving ERC20 tokens. You can transfer island, you can get the balance for a user. For NFTs, ERC721s, you can get the balance, you can transfer, you can mint a new NFT. So people come to your island, you call mint and you give them a special NFT for coming to your island. There's support for base names, so your agent can register base names for people. There's support for OpenSea, so you can say, hey, sell this NFT. Lots of really, really neat on-chain stuff. And this is just already built into Coinbase's agent kit. Unfortunately, with Eliza, it doesn't have quite the action space right now, but it is super, super easily extendable. Essentially by this format. And you can, these agent kit codes are free to use for everyone. Yeah. They're entirely open source. All the code to do this and run this is here. Free is an interesting caveat because you do need to use some AI backend. ChatGPT is the most common one. I think they do have a free tier for their API endpoint. A little bit later in this demo, I'll walk through creating a API key for ChatGPT. Um, I I paid like $5 for some credits like months ago, and I think I still have like $1 or $2. So a little bit goes a long way there, and I even think most people are going to be. I think most people are going to be fine with their free tier. Um, but yeah, so the agent has their own wallet that they control. They have the private keys for that wallet. They can do uh, anything on chain that we can do, as long as they have the proper code and action to do it. Okay, so we have the anatomy of an action. Um, ChatGPT is really, really good at writing these too. You can just uh, import like some template code to it and say like, hey, I want an action that sends uh, 10 island to users. Check if you've already sent it to them. If you have, don't. Um, it's really, really good at writing these. And so once you write one, you want to just import it into this index class. This is the starting point for Eliza. So we import that here. And then down here in create agent again, we just say, hey, use this action. And that's it. We can start up this agent. Now, I said before that Eliza is better with characters. It's really, really good. It's a great system for imbuing these agents with like a really fun character. Eliza is the default character, but you can change this character.ts file to be anything you want. So you can say like name is like the secret whale, whatever. You can change your bio, change your lore. You got some message examples, lots and lots of different configurable stuff to change the personality of this character. It's really fun to play around with. Okay, so that's a brief overview of the code. Check questions real quick. Okay, cool. Looks like we're good there. All right. So to get this running, so this uses some dependencies. They are pretty easy to install. We're going to use a package manager called pnpm. Um, I guess I can back up for a sec. And if people aren't familiar with Node.js, it's a JavaScript runtime environment. And pretty much everything on the web uses it. And so they have a package manager called npm. PnPM is just another flavor of it. I won't go into details about exact differences because it doesn't really matter right now. So to install our dependencies, we'll just run pnpmi. I've already done this. It takes a couple minutes, so I did this before, but it'll just install all the dependencies that are defined right here in our package.json. So just all of these dependencies. Once that is set, there's one more thing that we need to configure, and that is environment variables. Now, Eliza exposes a lot of environment variables because it can do a lot. We need very few of these to just get it running. If you want to be able to post a Discord, you need an API token for that. If you want to use Grok or any other AI backend, you can specify those API keys there. We're going to be using OpenAI. You can find that. I think I have a link to it. Um, Maybe not. I can update the docs to include a link to it, but it's pretty easy to find. Here we go. Yeah, platform.openai.com, and you just go to API keys, and you can create a new secret key right here, and that'll give you this key. It starts with SK. It's a very long string. I'm not going to show you guys mine because I don't want anyone to steal my credits, but we'll just copy that key right here, and we'll paste that right in here. The second thing we'll have to change is which model to use. There's a model list on OpenAI's website. I pretty much always just go for GPT-4o mini. 5 is out now, but 4o mini is tried and true. It's a really, really small version of the regular 4o model. So it's a little bit cheaper to use, but it still gives really great results. But definitely feel free to play around with that. If you use the GPT-5 thinking model, it'll probably take a little bit longer. You might get slightly better results, but something to play around with. The last thing that we need just to get this started, and the Eliza docs explain everything you could possibly need here. So if you want to do Solana stuff, here you go, Sol address. It can post on Telegram. Can do a lot. But we want our agent to have a wallet. So we will put our private key right in here, and our public key right in here. You want to make sure your machine is locked down because these will be stored just in plain text right here until we upload these to the server. The server uh, uh, will encrypt these, so they'll be hidden once they get to the server. But here for local development, there's always a risk that there's something on your machine just listening. So be careful, use test wallets, use burners. We don't want anyone getting their funds stolen. That would suck. All right, quick question check. Oh, cool. Thanks for posting that. Nice. Thank you, Doc. Okay, cool. Yes, we did open AI. We did characters. All right, so we can run this locally, and we will do that by just running pnpm start. And it'll take a little bit. It'll tell you it's registering everything. It's starting up the runtime for this character, Eliza, registering these actions. And now we have a server running at localhost. Included in this repo, I believe I have this pushed. If not, I will push this, but I have this test deployment. So we can just post to localhost 3000 and see what we get. So we can do that by doing node test deployment.js. And there we go. Our response from Eliza, hey there, ready to fun, continue. This is just the default action that it replies if you don't want it to do anything. Can you start a lobby? Let's see if this works. Sure, starting a SpyHound lobby for you. Let's dive in. Action, host lobby. So as you can see, it used the action that we created right here. And if the game sees this, then it will start up a SpyHunt lobby. Okay, so we can close this agent right here, and let's look into deploying this agent. A couple different platforms where you can deploy. Vercel is a very popular one. So is Railway. Basically, anywhere you can host a server, you can host one of these things. So really, any place you can host a website, you can host an agent. For this, we are going to be using Railway. That's just kind of my preferred deployment provider. I just like the way they lay everything out. And the benefit of Railway, actually, you can do this with Vercel as well, but you can hook it up directly to your GitHub and deploy from a Git repo. So this is why I said earlier that you should fork this because I've connected my GitHub to Railway. And so now Railway has access to all of my repositories. So I can just say deploy from a GitHub repo. Let's see, the name is Eliza Nifty Starter. Eliza Nifty Starter pops up right here, and just click. And there you go. You have a deployment starting. Couple small things that we need to do here. Here, let me actually also drop these docs in here if anybody wants to follow along. Okay, so yeah, this is building, which is good. A couple things that we need to do. If you guys remember, we talked about these environment variables. Quick caveat for local development, you're going to want to remove .example, so just .env. I'm not going to open this because that's going to expose my API keys and my private keys that I have set in here. But once you fill this out, you just change this to .env, and that's your environment file. So all of these are going to be protected on the server. They're not going to be exposed in any endpoints. They're not going to be reachable externally by anyone. The server is the only place that can use these. So we need to get those variables right in here. So you'll click on your deployment, go to variables, new variable, and we will just fill these out with the ones that we need. So that is OpenAI key. I'm going to do this off screen so I don't expose my environment variables, but we're going to be doing OpenAI key, XAI model, and the public and private keys of our wallet. So stand by real quick. Okay, so I have imported all of those environment variables right here. You can edit them here if you want. But once that's done, we need to redeploy the deployment with those variables in mind. If you change these and you don't redeploy, the server will never see them. So we're going to do another deployment. This was our previous one, so that successfully deployed. And now we're just redeploying with those new variables. One other thing we need to do to expose this right now, it's just a private server. So we can talk to it privately, but we don't want to do that because we want Nifty Island to be able to talk to it. So we're just going to generate a domain. It doesn't really matter what port. I guess it does. We have, I don't know if port. Okay. Yeah, so you can specify port and environment variables. Everything just defaults to 3000. When we started up our agent before, it said listening to localhost on port 3000. So we're just going to tell it port 3000, generate that domain. And here we go. We have our URL right here. So we can copy that URL. And let's do a quick test. We'll go back to our test deployment script right here. We now have our URL up here, appended with, and this is important, this is just our raw URL right here, this first part. Then you want to append it with the agent ID. So this is just going to be the name of the agent / message. And so this is how we're going to talk to it. If you just do this, you're not going to be able to talk to it. We need to route the message properly. So let's say hello. Great. So we just hit this server at this endpoint with hello, and we got, hey, ready to jump into some fun. What game are you thinking about? So that means we are ready to enter Nifty Island. Actually, it's on the wrong monitor, so I'm gonna need to start streaming on this monitor. Okay, so I'm going to copy our URL. Wait for Nifty Island to load. Wow, so fast. Then go over here, and as you can see, I have an agent placed down already. If you do not have an agent, it's pretty easy. Oops, just search agent in the build menu. We have a couple pre-configured agents from Virtuals and Hologram. They are pretty fun to talk to. They have great personalities. But you can just click here, drop an agent. I already have one placed to my island, and we enforce a 1 agent limit right now. Um, wow, that was fast. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. No FUD here. Um, and you can right click, scan it, edit, put in the URL. If you have an API key, you can check that here, put the header name and the API key in here. Makes it a little bit safer, so just anybody can't post to your agent. Small detail, we will encrypt your API key and store it on our server. So if you do this, no one, even at Nifty, can read your API key. It's totally safe. But we didn't set that up, so we're not going to do that. We can inject the island info. We can inject player wallets, playground games, emote names, and then sending the world tick. So these are those world messages I was talking about. And then also just a custom string right here for really anything. But we're going to keep this simple. We're not going to do any of that. We've put our URL in. We're going to go here, chat. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well. What game are you interested in today? So there you go. That's a bare bones agent in Nifty Island. It's a lot more fun if you give it a great personality, if you connect some on-chain actions to it. We tried to build this in-game agent implementation to be very open and be very extendable, and kind of let you do anything you want. Yeah, so if there are any questions, happy to field some questions. If you guys saw something and you're like, hey, I really want to be able to do this, drop some feedback. We're always excited to build out new functionality that people want to use. But hopefully anybody here can quickly get up and get their agent working in game. And like I mentioned before, there will be more tutorials. There will be more example code. And there's going to be some new functionality coming out, hopefully relatively soon. So agents can do a lot in game today, but a month, 2 months from now, hopefully they're just way more powerful. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.